You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Nicholas. I am the chair of New York State Tourism Advisory Council, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is now officially 10:36 a.m. And we'll start by taking attendance to those joining via video conference. I'll call the names from the RSVP list, which I should have right here. Okay, you have it? Yeah, you've got the cross out. So there we go. George Damalis.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. Natasha Caputo. Well, wait, I'm calling. Yeah, Natasha's here.
Yeah.
Okay. Barbara Lee Diamond-Steensfield Vogel, I believe, is on the call. Heard her earlier. Okay. Kelly Blazowski is here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here.
David Filipiak. Okay. Dan Fuller, I see. Hi, Dan. Valerie Knobloch.
Here.
See. Hey, nice to see you, Valerie. George and Tim is not here. And Assembly Member Danny O'Donnell. Hello, Danny. Hope you're feeling better.
How are you?
Good, good. Alexander Stanton? She's not here yet. Okay. Just in case, Alana Petroselli. I know Eleanor Tatum's going to call in, to try to call in. She had an appointment. And Thurm Thomas. No. Okay. All right. Very good. We're good. So just a reminder. Oh, yes, absolutely. Sorry, Ross. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm Ross Levi. I'm the Executive Director of the New York State Division of Tourism and a Vice President here at Empire State Development.
Rich Gagliano, SVP Marketing, ESD.
Heather McKelney, New York State Division of Tourism.
Faith West, Vice President, Marketing Integration and Operations at ESD.
Ralph Tregali, Delta Airlines.
Natasha Caputo, Westchester County, Hudson Valley Region.
I'm Rhiannon Medlin with Island, New York.
I'm Donna Haynes, MTA.
Terrific. If you want to join, you're sort of in the corner there. So. I'm just going to, as a reminder for those conferencing in, please just keep yourselves on mute. This will eliminate any background noise during the meeting. And if you would like to say something, feel free to unmute yourself and speak. So all of the members have been emailed a copy of the minutes. They're also available on the ESD website. I do need to know if there are any changes proposed for the minutes. And I need a motion to approve the minutes by a TAC member.
So moved.
Okay, Natasha Caputo, and I need a second, please.
Second, Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie Knobloch. Any opposed to the minutes? It's hard to say all in favor. Hi, Alexandra, welcome.
Hello.
Any opposed to the minutes? No, I'm getting, okay, very good. Then the motion carries and the minutes are approved. So I wanted to start my chair's report by sharing some of the recent tourism-related announcements made by Governor Hochul. Good. Okay. All right. All right. So in April, Governor Hochul announced nearly $32 million in awards through NYS's Capital Projects Fund to support over 100 projects throughout the state. These investments support crucial building renovations, accessibility improvements, and new spaces for creative and cultural work. Organizations outside of New York City received 55% of the awards, and 69% of the awards went to organizations with budgets under $3 million. Grantees include Staten Island Snug Harbor, Cultural Center, and Botanical Garden, Collar Works in Troy, the John W. Jones Museum in Elmira, the Upton Theater for Creative Arts in Utica, and the Craig Arden in Elizabethtown. Also in April, the governor announced the grand opening of the Cambria Hotel Niagara Falls, part of more than $20 million of mixed-use development. This 7-story, 120-room upscale hotel brand, which is located on Rainbow Boulevard, steps away from the Niagara Falls State Park, also includes 3 new residential guest houses on Buffalo Avenue. The hotel features upscale amenities, including indoor and outdoor spaces for productive work or relaxation, contemporary and sophisticated guest rooms, spa-style bathrooms, bar and restaurant featuring freshly made food and local craft beers on tap, and state-of-the-art fitness center. You've been there, right, Ross?
It's a hat.
Excellent, excellent.
Stayed there the day
You did,
he
Rich.
could open the eclipse right after
Oh,
that.
that's
So
right,
it was
that's
great
right.
being in a hotel that has never been touched by anyone else. So it was really nice.
Excellent. I also wanted to share that in early May, Ross and I attended the ribbon cutting opening at the Inn at Belfield. It's a 137-room all-suite hotel. It's operated by the Marriotts, right? But that's it's part of historic Hyde Park. The Inn is part of Belfield. It's transformational. It's a $1 billion world-class hospitality, agritourism, and residential attraction being developed by former TAC member Tom Mulroy. The Inn has been welcoming guests with sophisticated amenities and elite lodging since January of this year. It offers suites with full kitchens and distinct living and sleeping rooms, contemplating ergonomic workstations, an upscale fitness center, and the state-of-the-art conference spaces. Hello. An event space for up to 250 people also opened this past January. The Inn at Belfield also pays tribute to Hyde Park's history, featuring original artwork from the FDR Presidential Library and Museum and the playing of Roosevelt's fireside chats alongside outdoor fire pits. The Storyteller, a farm-to-table bar lounge, offers eclectic dining featuring specialty craft beers and spirits. ESD supported the project with $2.25 million in capital grant. Phase 2 of construction, comprising half of the project, is now underway. Okay, hey George and Tim joined. Hey Fred, welcome.
Hi.
Hey Kelly, good to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, Christine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, further upstate, over the last months, the governor has announced several major improvements that will help bolster the tourism industry in Buffalo. In early April, the Terminal B Event Center and newly improved Bell Slip both opened on the outer harbor. The $13 million Terminal B Event Center created a new outdoor event center and open space by rehabilitating a vacant structure and utilizing existing parking while reclaiming 7 acres of contaminated property to create additional parking access with new lake views. The center features a canopied stage and will be utilized for performances, not-for-profit events, and cultural organizations. The $5 million Bell Slip Improvement Project adds many new amenities to Buffalo's outer harbor, including a public restroom building and an additional parking lot at the central location. A covered seating area, overlook deck, modified pedestrian and bike paths are also featured in this project. At Canal Side, Governor Hochul announced plans for a waterway of change, a complex legacy to the Erie Canal. The new Erie Canal Bicentennial Visitors Experience. The concept for the 2,900 square foot long shed is to create a visitor experience that acts as a starting point for guests of the bicentennial commemoration journey. Waterway of Change will include interactive multimedia exhibits for visitors of all ages and abilities, sharing Buffalo's Erie Canal story in an inclusive and diverse way through short films, touch screens, audio, historical artifacts, and dramatic lighting. Outdoor interpretive exhibits will also be created at towpaths along the canal. The 2025 World Canals Conference will showcase Buffalo's transformed waterfront district, which has seen more than $400 million in new investments. Today, the Buffalo waterfront attracts more than 1 million annual visitors. To help support other projects along the 524-mile canal system across upstate New York, the historic $50 million capital investment into New York State Canal System was included in new state budget by Governor Hochul and the legislature. This funding ensures that the waterway will remain safe, operable, and a driver of tourism and economic activity. Investments will focus on high-priority infrastructure needs, including the rehabilitation of water impounding structures that have been in service for more than a century. Speaking of New York anniversaries, last month, the governor celebrated the official centennial of the State Council of Parks, established in 1924. Landmarks across the state were illuminated in parks green and centennial gold, and a special centennial flag was raised at parks and historic sites across the state to commemorate the day. Throughout 2024, New York State Parks will mark the 100th anniversary of a range of programs and events, including Blazing a Trail, an interactive timeline chronicling the agency's history and influential figures, and the Centennial Challenge, which encourages people to win prizes by participating in various activities at parks and sites. Earlier this month, Governor Hochul announced the state of major construction work at Saratoga County Airport. The large-scale project will build a new terminal and adjoining aircraft hangar with extensive clean energy improvements to provide a more efficient and enjoyable travel experience for passengers, especially during the peak summer season. The project will provide a new fixed-based operator terminal, building and a new waiting area, concessionaire tenant spaces, rental car lease space, and a connected 20,000 square foot hangar. Enhancements including solar panels on the hangar portion of the new terminal building, geothermal wells for heating and cooling, and electric vehicle chargers will assist the airport in aligning with New York's clean energy goals. With the Belmont Stakes being held at Saratoga Race Course in 2024 and 2025, the change in venue is expected to increase interest and attendance. To accommodate an expected influx of aircraft while under construction, the airport may utilize one of the airport's runways for additional aircraft parking. Finally, I wanted to report on the latest developments of New York State's 250th Commemoration Commission to recognize the anniversary of the American Revolution and the Declaration of Independence in 2026. As chair of TAC, I am a designated member. Ross is a designee of ESD, Commissioner Hope Knight. So together we were there. The commission is chaired by Brandy Simons, interim state parks commissioner, and education commissioner, Dr. Betty A. Rosa. Their agencies will be leading the creation of the strategic plan for the 250th commemoration. On May 15th, Ross and I attended the first meeting of the commission. It was held at the New York State Museum of Albany. Natasha Caputo was there as well, along with many other leaders in the tourism industry in New York State. In its first year, the commission will advise on the development of a multifaceted commemoration to support New York's heritage organizations, to plan and support programming and exhibits, coordinate New York State learning standards, encourage and promote heritage tourism, advance scholarships surrounding the history and values of the American Revolution, and ignite public interest in the history of New York State and the United States. The commemoration will focus beyond the American Revolution and the formation of the United States to ongoing efforts to reach the goals expressed by the nation's founders. New York has been a significant force in those movements, from the Underground Railroad, to the abolition of slavery, to women's suffrage, the organized labor movement, and the LGBTQ+ rights movement. At this first meeting, several state agencies reported on what work had been done so far on preparing for the 250th. Ross explained how I Love New York promotes travel, highlighting specifically history and heritage and outlining ways that the Division of Tourism may be of assistance. The next meeting is set for September, and I will continue to keep TAC advised of its activities at future meetings. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, I am going to turn things over to Ross for an update of the I Love New York programming.
Great, thank you, Christine. Good to see everybody for our last meeting before summer.
Feels like it.
Yes, this is also, we presume, the last meeting in this building. Yeah. So to make you happy about the move, we moved you to a smaller conference room for this. Sorry about the coziness, but glad to see everybody here.
Just want to pick up one more word.
So Christine alluded to some of the developments in the state budget for agencies other than ESD, but that are going to impact tourism. And as you heard, there was a lot of Certainly, we at I Love New York are watching the budget for our funding, and we were pleased to see that it remained basically even with the record level of funding that we have gotten for previous years. What that basically breaks down to is for the upcoming year, $15 million to support a new round of Market New York funding, $3.45 million for the Tourism Matching Funds program. Again, that's level. $45 million towards economic development initiatives, a portion of which covers tourism marketing and promotions campaigns for the year, and then another $2.5 million for I Love New York programming. That is obviously in addition to all those things you saw, infrastructure and other things. It's in addition to $300 million for state parks for statewide capital improvements, $100 million for the New York Swims initiative that you've heard me talk about in previous meetings. So overall, I think it's safe to say tourism did solidly, did well in the state budget. I think most of TAC members know that's not the case in every other state in the nation. So it continues to make us feel good about our work, that our stakeholders in the legislature and of course the governor recognize the important work we do and the value we bring to New York State. So we're excited to do good work with that money in the upcoming fiscal year. So I always tell my staff, and somehow we always forget, that May and June is our busiest time of year. It's like March for accountants is what I say, largely to get ready for summer, the summer, clearly our most important season of the year in terms of vacation. And so it is that time of year that we're gearing up again for our summer promotions. In fact, our new seasonal summer commercial is being finalized, and hopefully you will be seeing it on your televisions and elsewhere within the week. I think it's safe to say about a week. That is backed up by a lot of our other activities as well. For example, thanks to Anna Packman and her digital team, our website has gone through its seasonal change with the homepage welcoming visitors to summer. Additionally, ilovenewyork.com/summer is the hub for all things summer, spotlighting New York's most desirable attractions, activities, and events. The website also highlights our most popular online summer content, including blogs on 24 things to do this summer, affordable summer getaways, family-friendly getaways, romantic summer getaways, you get the idea, and much, much more. We will support our summer campaign with the production of new content, including must-visit islands in New York State, what's new in New York State for summer of 2024, 94 days of summer fun, and more content. We've also started running sweepstakes, online sweepstakes and prize giveaways monthly on the I Love New York Instagram account. And these are a great way to grow our social following while promoting an event or destination in New York State, and can be a joint promotion for a relevant event, initiative, or seasonal attraction. Our first sweepstakes in March was in promotion of the eclipse, which I'm sure you all remember. We at I Love New York certainly do. We gave away an I Love New York prize pack, including a limited edition I Love New York eclipse poster. Our next sweepstakes in April are the Tulip Festival at Water Drinker Family Farm on Long Island as a co-promotion with our New York Blooms report you heard me talk about at the last meeting. And then our sweepstakes for May is a partnership with Bohem Retreats, a camping destination in the Catskills, to kick off the start of the summer camping season. One of the most significant consumer marketing activities we do over the summer is our mobile experiential tour. And it is so significant and we like to think so cool that my colleague Faith West is here to dive into that a little bit and let you know about what we're doing.
Thank you, Ross. It is cool. So thank you so much for having me. The Summer Mobile Tour, as it says, brings I Love New York brand to life by actively engaging our audience in the New York State experience. The tour traditionally features 6 pods that offers all the places you can visit and experience in New York State. Some of the themes of those pods are food, culture, art, sports, history. And each year we review the tour stops, the audience interest in the content, and we take that feedback that we receive and we use that information to inform our decisions to improve for the following year. So we will once again optimize our tour by analyzing the metrics of the information we receive through audience participation, such as survey, feedback, email collection. foot traffic sensors. And based on the learnings and success from 2023, we have taken 3 actions this year. We're adding new features to the tour. We are expanding our tour footprint to include smaller, more agile opportunities to better expand our audience. And we will be attending more events outside New York City within a 5-hour driving distance. So based on the summer tour, the success of 2023, we're bringing back the Getaway Pod setup and enhancing it to optimize the guest experience. The 2024 tour will again include the photo booth, very popular, the I Love New York freestanding sculpture, the premium area with the prize wheel connected to New York State trivia with a new trivia game designed to increase engagement. This summer, we are also featuring 2 new pods we're really excited about. Now, one is a history pod, but it's like no other history pod you've ever seen. You will include a trip through New York State history by way of a Rube Goldberg machine. So this chain reaction journey will start at the Cradle of Aviation in Long Island, where they house Lunar Module. That'll activate and travel up to the Lake Placid, hit the bobsled, which will go over to Tibbetts Point, hit a light. Yeah, it's a wonderful journey. It travels
This
through.
is, pictures and face description is great, but you've got to really get experience, and hence experiential. So this is
It's visually stunning. It'll end in New York City. And this educational and visually interesting journey is done in a beautifully simple way to learn about history in a very typical Rube Goldberg, overly complicated fashion. So it's fun. The second pod is also brand new, and it lets us explore the unique, the odd, the surprising, and obscure attractions that often fly under the radar. It features 40 unique New York State attractions, from the Oz Museum in the Yellow Brick Road in Chittenango, New York, to the Wilder Brain Collection in Ithaca, to the House of Guitars in Rochester, all the way down to the giant garden gnome in the Catskills. These special small places are found behind uniquely designed doors that don't necessarily give away what it is. So you need to open that door and explore this adventure that awaits for you, that all is available here in New York State. As I mentioned before, we wanted to expand our tour footprint this year to include smaller, more agile opportunities. If you can envision, the I Love New York mobile tour needs a minimum of 1,000 square feet just to house itself, not to mention the complications of load in and strike for a tour like that. So we couldn't go to a lot of smaller events. So what we did is we created a smaller, more nimble tour we're going to call the Mobile Tour Lite option. This flexible setup includes several elements that can be swapped in and out depending on the event. The images you see here is actually an activation we did in early April in Albany. It can include an oversized I Love New York branded suitcase with magnetic regional stickers, a photo opportunity, a Plinko game to win I Love New York swag, and a brand new game, the new New York State, I Love New York Empire State Educational Explorer game. So this game challenges the guests to match the New York State activity with the region of its location. It's a 2-sided interactive game. So not only are you challenged with a timer, but you have someone else that you can play against during that time, and you're learning about the activity and the location and learning more about New York. And the great news is we have 5 different versions of this game. So the person behind you is not going to be able to cheat and see what you're doing. And so in summary, by listening to our audience, by adding a smaller mobile tour option, by expanding our reach and thinking critically and creatively, through delivering new content and potential new events that we can attend, we have nearly doubled our total activation days. This year, we have 79 activation days. We have 21 mobile tour dates and 15 in-state and 6 out-of-state. We will stop at 11 Pride events and 1 Black travel event. This approach enables us to share the New York State story to an estimated 7.2 million people this summer. We kicked off the tour this past weekend at the Bethpage Air Show at Jones Beach, but some of our other tour stops include the Fairport Canal Days, the Taste of Buffalo, New York City Pride, the Toronto Jazz Festival, the Speedy Fest in Binghamton, and of course the Great New York State Fair in Syracuse. A complete listing of our tour stops is available on ilovenewyork.com/tour. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
And just a point, Ross had mentioned it's easy to start. Went through a quick overview of the digital, I think obviously went through the tour. But these pieces are all going to work together in one holistic campaign. We talk about awareness of the campaign. It's not just the TV commercial. It's all of this. The TV obviously provides the high level sort of brand consideration piece. Digital allows us to be more hyper targeted and talk about specific events, specific attractions, specific regions. And then the experiential brings it all together and brings it to life in a fun way. And one of the things we try to do across all these pieces is, get the brand out there, get that high level message, but that piece of education. So this was designed very specific. We want to draw a crowd, allow people to have fun at the events they're at. But we don't want to just give away t-shirts and have there's a point to it. Play with the map, play with the Rube Goldberg, play with the videos, understand where these little the Jello Museum is located, and it just people spend that 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes average there. We've got people trackers that we put in place starting last year,
Good amount of time.
and to make sure people are actually absorbing the content. There's a little trivia question. Answer it. They're pretty easy to find, but it makes you kind of just dive into the content a little bit more, and it all just works together.
Well, I want to thank you for expanding on this program and also making it more flexible. And I hope that, as we are rolling out the summer, in fact, we were at the 250th first meeting and we learned from the other commission members, there's an important event in Long Island this summer out near Montauk. And it's about they're going to have the slave trip there. So I don't know if that's part of the Black event, but I encourage you to think about attending that because, there may be some other events that we come across. And I know that it takes a lot of staff power and the budget and everything, but I appreciate the flexibility as we've learned from some of our commissioners that, how important some of these events are.
That's where this light comes into play, where at the
Exactly.
last minute we can still maybe
Right.
get that to happen logistically versus the full.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich. Thank
So
you.
the commercials are gonna align with these markets, or you kind of,
No,
And
I mean,
broadening that out.
the spots are still, over the seasons and over the years, we try to make sure we equally represent regions, types of attractions, but still focusing on footage that is the most attractive to me.
If you mean where it's running, it's running in
Oh,
our
running?
normal,
it's not, you're not shifting it.
it's
Right.
our normal 5-hour drive time,
Good, okay, great.
Right. Broadcast,
including in-sync.
right, broadcast, streaming, and this is for the most part within state, a
Enhancing
few
it.
bordering state.
Nice.
Though actually, there is the crossover in that basically wherever the experiential is, the commercials basically run.
Yeah. Right.
I just wanted for the record to be noted that David Filipiak has joined us. Welcome, David.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm 20 minutes late. And the first time I've missed being in person, and I see Fred is there. So hi, Fred. So I'm usually there in person.
Great. And similarly, our segment tours and programs, which you hear me talk about often, including our Black Travel program and our LGBTQ program, are similar in that it all works together, and yet at the same time, it's a distinctive program that's making a specific invitation as well. That's based on our market research that told us that those communities wanted both of that. They don't want to be just in a silo, but they did like having particular programs that also spoke to them as well. So this busy time of year, obviously part of that is driven by Pride season. And this particular Pride season has an additional reason that it's busy. It's because of the opening of an amazing new gem for New York State, the Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center. For those who have been down to Stonewall and Christopher Street, for years there's been a Stonewall bar, obviously for years since 1969. But that actually is only part of the original Stonewall. The second half has been a lot of things, a laundromat.
Right.
And now for the first time, the entire Stonewall will be reunited with the opening of a visitor center, which is part of the National Park Service, but run by a private nonprofit here in New York City. We were so excited about this at I Love New York and think it is so important, particularly for the I Love New York LGBTQ program, but for tourism in general, that we hosted a press luncheon to give travel media a sneak peek at the new visitor center currently under construction, but opening on June 28th. So Lisa Soto was here with us. And our partners at Fit Partners, we put together an event in partnership with our co-host Pride Live. That's the name of the nonprofit organization that's behind the creation of this visitor center. We had 12 journalists attending from outlets like the New York Times, USA Today, Afar, Time Out New York, Go Magazine, and HuffPost Queer Voices. We put together a panel presentation for them with myself, Mark Segal, who is a eyewitness and participant in the Stonewall Rebellion, and the Pride Live founder, Diana Rodriguez. We had that discussion before walking over to the site under construction and giving them a tour to see its progress. So we were excited to be able to do that sneak peek for travel journalists. That is part of our Pride season overall. This year we have our largest Pride tour to date. My colleague David Contreras-Turley, he was here earlier, and our I Love New York experiential team have been working hard on this for a number of months. As you heard from Faith, we'll be activating at 9 total locations between May and July, including Buffalo Pride, BIPOC Pride in the Capital Region, and New York City Pride to promote New York State travel. The experiential tour kicked off at Pride in the Sky on May 17th at the walkway over the Hudson. I got to be there. It was very cool. The first time they've ever had a Pride event there. A few hundred people came through our activation where we rolled out the new interactive features that you heard about. And that includes, for us, the I Love New York logo with a rainbow heart, of course. And people love taking pictures with that. So we look forward to that tour going on. ilovenewyork.com/LGBTQ features a collection of evergreen content, a link to our online travel guide, spotlighting all the great events happening for Pride in 2024. The current calendar, in fact, features over 55 events and counting. We're adding every day. We're also introducing a new blog for Pride Month, spotlighting LGBTQ-owned businesses in New York State, tourism-related businesses. Our Pride season promotions kicked off on social media on May 15th with a post directing to our blog where to celebrate 2024 Pride in New York State, and regular promotions will continue throughout May and June. We're creating 2 social videos, 48 Hours in Fire Island with a weekend itinerary around Fire Island Pines and Cherry Grove, and New in New York, Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center, where our social team will be going to that visitor center, getting some behind the scenes footage to share with folks online. Email marketing for Pride began this month with an events newsletter blast to our LGBTQ travel email list. Another news blast containing Pride events throughout the season is being sent out today. And we'll be launching a paid social media campaign across Facebook and Instagram that uses New York City Pride as an anchor event to draw in visitors and suggest other must-see experiences to take them to other destinations outside the city, such as dining in the Hudson Valley, beaches on Long Island, outdoor adventures in the Catskills, et cetera, et cetera. June is also a significant month for our Black Travel Initiative, of course, Juneteenth. And we'll be activating for a second time at the 2024 Buffalo Juneteenth Festival and Parade on June 15th. Be similar to the LGBTQ tour, featuring the iconic I Love New York statue, a branded archway, the puck drop game. I was told we couldn't call it puck, so for copyright reasons. So puck drop game and giveaways. The goal of this activation is to interact with consumers, share places to go that celebrate Black history and culture, and continue to grow our consumer email list. So those are our promotions, our consumer-facing promotions. However, we continue to work hard to support our tourism industry across the state. Obviously, our funding is a big way we do that. And we are very pleased that thanks to the budget, as I mentioned earlier, we were able to launch a new round of Market New York. $15 million was included in the budget for that. $7 million is available for marketing and working capital projects, $8 million for capital construction projects related to tourism. The portal to apply through the Consolidated Funding Application, the CFA. It opened on May 13th and will close at 4 p.m. on July 31st. Literally 4 p.m. People who come to us at 4:04 and say, "Oh, I'm late," and we say, "Sorry." You know, these RFP programs are very strict. Program guidelines are updated each program year, so applicants are strongly advised to read the updated version of the guidelines, which can be found at iloveny.org. www.marketny.com/marketny. Some areas of emphasis this year include travel trade work, international tourism, tourism connected to outdoor recreation, segment tourism, including accessible LGBTQ and Black travel, and projects connected to America 250. So it's a great opportunity for folks who want to be more connected with that. On June 11th, the division will be hosting a webinar on applying through the CFA, where attendees can learn about eligibility, application requirements, and scoring criteria, and have the opportunity to ask questions live with Division of Tourism staff. So if you know of anybody that you think could utilize this funding, first send them to the website so they can read the guidelines and see if it's an appropriate venue, and then encourage them to attend the webinar so they can hear more about it. You've heard in past years that we've done some work on workforce development. That continued on April 25th, where we partnered with the New York State Division of Labor for a fourth year in a row to host a statewide tourism-specific virtual job fair ahead of the summer season. Took place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a preview date on April 24th, which gave prospective job seekers the opportunity to see which businesses would be participating. We had 30 businesses from across the state hosting their own virtual booth and featured job openings to 1,103 interested job seekers. So it's very satisfying when you have over 1,000 people come to your virtual job fair. About 60% of attendees were from New York City and Long Island, but that meant a whole other 40% represented the remainder of the state. Business booths saw an average of 80 visitors throughout the day, so really good traffic for them. DOL marketed the job fair to potential job seekers and conducted follow-up surveys to collect additional information and data from the job fair. We're awaiting the result of those surveys, but so far, anecdotally at least, many businesses provided positive same-day feedback, including the Olympic Regional Development Authority, the Javits Center, Ithaca Downtown Conference Center. They reported that they had already exceeded the number of contacts from their last in-person job fair before the day was even finished, so they were very pleased. These events are key in offering more opportunities to strengthen the hospitality workforce, which we know is still an issue post-pandemic for sure. So we're looking to do another event in anticipation of fall and winter, so stay tuned for more on that. We've also been out there, as usual, I Love New York, participating in a number of forums, conferences, industry meetings, both to promote I Love New York projects and gain valuable insights that help us do our work more effectively. We want to hear from our industry in terms of what we can do, what we should continue, and what we can do better. We went to a Canals Accessibility Forum in Rochester on April 10th. It's part of a series of forums being hosted by our sister agency, New York City Canals, as part of that 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal opening next year. Sarah Emmer and Rhiannon Enland represented the division in Rochester for a discussion on accessible recreation on the Canalway. Sarah sat on a panel with other industry leaders to talk about our Accessible New York program and that canal attractions and destinations can work with our program to market to travelers with accessibility needs. From May 13th through the 15th, Sarah Rhiannon again took a show on the road representing I Love New York at the Northern Forest Outdoor Recreation Symposium in Britton Woods, New Hampshire, along with other state partners and colleagues from the Northern Forest region of New York State. The conference was hosted by the Northern Border Regional Commission and the Northern Forest Center with the goal of bolstering the outdoor recreation economy among the Northern Forest region. Sarah spoke on the panel with partners from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, and other state leaders from New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, detailing the work of the state and the joys and impacts of the outdoor recreation economy. We were, of course, at the NYS Annual Conference in Niagara Falls, April 17th through the 19th. A number of us staff members attended. Rich Gagliano and myself presented our annual I Love New York report. As you can see it in person. And also Sarah Emmer, Danae Jones-Person, and David Contreras-Turley, and myself presented a panel on marketing to diverse audiences. Gave us a chance to highlight our segment tourism programs. We also hosted a TPA meeting, as we often do there, where I was able to provide updates and again, more importantly, hear from our TPA partners that really are our front lines out there doing the tourism work. And it's important for us to hear from them in terms of how we can improve our work together. And then lastly, I will be going to the quarterly meeting of the DMOs of New York State, which will be in the Hudson Valley next week. And again, working particularly with the CEOs and presidents from a number of DMOs across the state. As you've heard at a few of our last meetings, we have dug a little further into some of our work doing an I Love New York spotlight, as we did with experiential. We also wanted to do that this time with our travel trade programs. And so to do that, I'm very pleased to introduce my colleague, Heather McElhenney, who is our Director of Travel Trade Programs.
Thanks, Ross. And now I don't have to introduce myself. So yeah, I'm Heather. I oversee all of our domestic and international trade work in our offices and the work they do. I do not do this alone at all. I have wonderful colleagues in Mark Lee Wilson and Danae Jones-Persip. They are invaluable, they're dedicated. They make us look good. So, and of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mark Hamilton and his team with publications and design, Rick Machung and his team and media services, and Faith's team, especially Audie and Tanya. They are very impactful in all the work we do in all of the places. So our international work currently focuses on 4 strategic markets, chosen because of factors including how many visitors they have coming to New York or historically coming to New York, how well suited New York State is for the activities that interest their travelers, and capacity for sending international guests to our state, especially in terms of airlift. We utilize 4 exceptional and talented offices. We have Linked Tourism in Australia, Reach Global Marketing in Canada, KBC in the UK, and Weichmann Tourism Services in Germany. KBC, Weichmann, and Linked were new to working with the division in 2023. So for that reason, a lot of our 23-24 work began with intensive onboarding and training. But even though we took some time getting up to speed, all of the office generated significant amount of work product, and we did not miss a beat, keeping New York State top of mind with international tour operators, travel agents, and media and press. All offices are tasked with continuous travel trade sales, marketing, and public relation efforts, driving visitation through the state, encouraging travelers to spend more time exploring the rich and extensive range of experiences available across all of New York's 11 travel regions. So let's look at some of the work that they've done. Last May, we invited all of our TPAs to Albany for an introduction to our offices. This was their opportunity to meet with our new reps, hear about the state of the industry report for each country, as well as look ahead to all the work to come. This day-long presentation was followed by a week-long fan trip for our new offices. We took 5 days and visited 7 regions, allowing for them to get firsthand experience of New York State's tourism assets in all those areas. The reps then traveled to their first I Love New York IPW activation. You'll be hearing more about our most recent IPW activation in a minute, but the success was set by 2023, which was our largest IPW activation up until that time, and the first full IPW activation following COVID. We collaborated with I Love New York's experiential and publication and media teams again to complete and redesign our booth. Many thanks to those teams again. Post-COVID, the tourism industry across New York State welcomed many new representatives. So the travel trade team provided pre-show training and best practice seminars for all of New York State tourism attractions and TPAs. This was vital to ensure New York State was well prepared and presented throughout the show. Our activation included 5 booths, 7 statewide partners, 200 business appointments, 40 media appointments, and hosted receptions for 185 people. The response to the new booth design, expanded appointments, and the new reception format, garnered increased interest in participating in future I Love New York activations. More on that later. Our offices are also busy at home, exhibiting at over 40 in-country trade, consumer, and media shows and roadshows. In addition, several shows allowed for New York State TPAs to attend in person under the New York State booth partnerships. Some of those of note are the Australia, New Zealand, as Ross spoke about at our last meeting. He was there for 12 days, 5 trade shows, 2 partners joining, and he hosted and met with approximately 500 trade and media reps. We also attended the Aer Lingus Roadshow, traveling across Ireland with Aer Lingus team, holding trade meetings in Belfast, Dublin, and Limerick, with 1 partner joining our office for this event. ITB, this is the largest trade show in Germany, and we secured 2 tables within the Germany Visit USA booth. We had 3 partners join, enabling them to participate not only in meetings, but also in an I Love New York sponsored LGBTQ gala hosted by Diversity Tourism in Germany. We also partnered with NYS to activate a double booth at 2 Canadian travel and adventure shows. Those are just a very small sampling, but something from each country. Yeah. There you go. We also arranged and activated 2 back-to-back sales missions. We did a Germany for 6 days, which we traveled in Munich, Berlin, Hamburg, and Frankfurt. Four partners joined us, and we hosted and met with approximately 200 trade and media representatives. During that time, we hosted 4 events for top agents and media in the cities, 15-minute presentation to all attendees at the Germany Visit USA Halloween event. If you've never done a Halloween event in Germany, do it. It's amazing. A radio interview and recorded promotional spots with Radio Frankfurt, and an agent training with Canusa, Germany's highest producing travel agency. From Germany, we all traveled over to the UK and did 2 speed dating events through the partnership with Travel Gossip, bringing 50 agents from across the UK. Travel Gossip partnership also included a longer online activation that included destination promotions and videos, and a speakeasy event with a UK comedian hosted in partnership with the National Comedy Center for 40 agents and media, as well as London-based US ambassador. This was also a 6-day event, and over the course of the entire trip, our entire time in the UK, we saw about 225 trade and media representatives at a variety of events. No, I apologize. Come on back. We do know that having our folks in country, though, getting our trade and media in country is some of the most valuable exposure that we can get. So we do host quite a few media and trade FAMs. And since we started working in these offices, we've done more than 15 FAMs in a bunch of different sizes and capacities. The one that we most recently just wrapped up that was quite a lift was a Qantas FAM, where we brought travel agents from New Zealand in. We had 18 in total, so they split into 3 groups of 6 and traveled the entire state. And then just a quick note, we do notable marketing campaigns. We do a lot of different marketing campaigns. Notable ones recently are again with Qantas, Wanderlust, CA Canada, and Canusa. And then, of course, we are constantly doing press pitches and PR and media. Next. So we have a lot of work coming up. So the global fan model, we're moving away from the individual and small media FAMs, and we're going to do 1 FAM for trade and 1 FAM for media each quarter, and each country will be able to send people to that. So we'll have roughly about 20 people FAMing at any time on those. FAMing.
I love that.
We're FAMing. So this is going to make our work much more effective, and the efforts to put together a FAM are quite heavy. So this will give us the most bang for the buck for doing those. And then, like as we said, we just wrapped up IPW 2024. We hosted 8 booths with 14 statewide partners, approximately 295 business appointments with 40 media appointments, and a hosted reception for up to 250 people. The reception took place at the Grand Museum, which was a hit, unintended, and a draw within itself. We found that the sizes could fit, and we'll look to replicate this activation in 2025. In country, we're focused to participate in over 30 in-country trade, media, and consumer shows across all 4 international markets, several of which will open for New York State TPAs and attraction participation. Yeah. Sales missions will be just coming up in about 2 weeks from now. We'll be doing an Australia, New Zealand trade and media sales mission. And I Love New York. And I Love New York 3-day activation at Sydney's largest consumer event, the Sydney Good Food and Wine Fest, will be part of that activation. So we will actually have some VIP trade and some consumer contact activating in a booth there. Brand USA will maintain an increased investment and will include targeted trade campaigns in each country, as well as the normal consumer-facing marketing. And in emerging markets, we are soliciting activation-specific proposals from vendors representing the Nordic countries, France, India, Central America, and Mexico. These would be smaller activations to gauge interest and train our tourism partners on the state of the industry in each market, as well as training on how to work within each. No, we have. Okay, I'll go as fast as I can. I'm getting there. So our EDA grant has allowed us to enter more fully into the group tour and travel market, as well as return to the sports market for the first time in the meetings and convention market. Together with our travel trade vendor, Travel Alliance Partnership, formerly Break the Ice Media, which many of you know, I have to get used to saying that, and their subcontractor, Alon Tourism Solutions, we've been keeping New York State top of mind with domestic tour and event planners. Between activations at trade shows across the country, advertising and marketing placements, and planned hosted events, New York State is more visible than ever in these markets. Next. Our major work in these market centers around trade shows and giving the TPAs and attractions the opportunity to showcase their product on a larger scale and reach audiences that may not be able to be there on their own. Highlights include activations of the Bus Association of New York and the National Tour Association, American Bus Association, including new which included hosted New York State events, exclusive New York State presentations, and one-on-one appointments. We also worked with our domestic international receptive operators attending IITA, which is the International Inbound Travel Association, to meet with over 25 US-based buyers. We attended the IMEX International Travel Show in partnership with New York City Tourism Conventions. Thank you. To meet with over 25 US-based buyers there. And overall, we presented to over 2,000 buyers across the markets, hosted 6 large events for buyers, TPAs, and DMOs. And we also shared the meeting notes and leads from all of these appointments and contacts with all TPAs to DMOs across the state, giving them actionable results. In addition to our regular memberships with ABA, NTA, Bus Association of New York, et cetera, we've also joined Meeting Professionals International. This gives us access to meeting planners across the country, as well as unique opportunities to reach them through hosted events, marketing campaigns, and other activations. Next. So looking ahead, trade show attendance remains one of the most effective tools in these markets, and we will continue to activate as we did in 2023 with some additions. One highlight will be the addition of the Connect Marketplace, where we'll reach 5 markets at once with hosted lunch, booth activation, and conference-wide marketing. We'll be expanding our trade show work, inviting top buyers we meet with to visit New York State for FAM tours in all markets. We'll be taking the show on the road, courting buyers in all markets with the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic regions in their hometowns. For example, we'll be activating at major MPI chapter events with sponsorships that the TPAs will be able to join with. Around these activations, we'll also plan to host sales calls for all TPAs to join on. We're also developing an educational program to help our partners across the state better work with the travel trade and break into new markets. With our vendor, we're compiling B2B marketing and advertising options for targeted campaigns in each market, meetings to elevate awareness of the New York State product, and interest in learning more and ultimately connecting our statewide TPA partners. This is an overview of the work that we're doing. There is so much more happening, but I hope this gives you a sense of the work we're doing, the goals we have, and the success so far.
Yeah, and as you've heard me say prior meetings, a lot we've been doing internationally for a long time, but all of this domestic trade work is new. It's really only in the last 2 years. We're excited to be able to do it. We know our TPA partners value it, and we look forward to continuing expanding. With that, that concludes the item here.
Great, well, thank you, and thanks, Heather and Faith for the updates. It gives me extreme pleasure to introduce our guest speaker to give us an update on what NYC Tourism is doing. But what makes it so special today is knowing how busy Fred Dixon always is, the CEO of NYC Tourism. He has 2 days left in his current role, or maybe 3.
4.
Okay. So the fact that you're joining us today is we really appreciate it. I can talk about Fred's background. I think everybody knows, but what you may not know is Fred and I have had the pleasure of working together. And I was, as you mentioned, you are only as good as the staff and the group that you surround yourself with. I was blessed to be able to hire Fred in 2005. He had been at the Nashville CVB and then Planet Hollywood, where I got to see him in action. And then it was just a natural, progression for him to join NYC & Company at the time as vice president. And then when I was so proud and very happy for the future of NYC & Company when you were then made CEO after the previous, when I left, and there was George Fertitta and Fred became CEO. So, and also Kelly Ann Curtin and the other folks that I had the pleasure of working with. That is why we were so successful, why NYC Tourism remained successful. Record-breaking numbers under Fred's leadership, 66 million in 2019. He's this close to, turning it to another net gain for 2024, which would be tremendous after the blow that we were all dealt in our industry after COVID. I think one of the things also that I want to commend Fred on, because I sat in his chair and I've been sitting in this chair, and I, have dealt with TAC for years. I think the bond between NYC Tourism and New York State TAC has never been stronger. And it has to do with our shared interests. And instead of being competitive, we're being collaborative. And I don't think we could have done that without Fred and Ross being at the helms. And it is really remarkable how much work I see is being done. And I also know, and we will hear from Fred on what they're doing, but the fact that New York State has two powerhouses with I Love New York and NYC Tourism, we're truly blessed. I mean, I know what's going on in the other states, and yes, they may have more money. They may not have as great a product, but so maybe that explains why they have more money. But to see this leadership, and then Fred, just to emphasize, as you probably saw in the slides, we are committed to Brand USA, where you will be going. We have always been committed to Brand USA, but we upped it from $250,000 to $300,000 in this past year. And we feel like we're partners, and we look forward to your leadership there, because I know that the country needs you more than ever now at this particular time. So, and with that, all boats rise with the tide. New York State will also benefit from your leadership. So no pressure, but what have you done lately in New York City? So thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And you have three alums here. Christine,
Natasha, of course,
with
yes.
Natasha and Kevin all working together, which was amazing. And I think, my other colleagues that are here with me, Natalie Kof, our Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel, and Alexander Silversmith, our VP of Government and External Affairs. They're amazing. And Kelly, of course, is the glue that has kept everything always together. He represents us here at this body, and of course with NYSTA and the State Demo Association. So Kelly, thank you for your leadership always. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Thanks for your kind words, Christine, always. It's been a remarkable journey, 18 and a half years at NYC Company and NYC Tourism, and now going to Brand USA in Washington. So I appreciate the partnership there. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts and dreams for that organization as we go forward. We'll have a lot of time to talk about that, but it is
our biggest dream is to have someone that will lead it into the next phase. So check that box.
Thank you. Thank you. It's super exciting. I'll give you a quick update on what's happening in New York City. As Christine said, we are on the cusp of fully recovering. We can go to the next slide. Here's a snapshot of our latest forecast. This came in March. We presented it at our annual meeting, and you'll see the record number Christine mentioned on the left, of course. In 23, we were at just over 62 million arrivals, 11.6 million of those being international. And then 24, pushing on 65 million this year. And then we are expected on all counts to exceed the previous records in 2025. Next slide, we'll break it down into business and leisure travel. Everyone's want to know how the business traveler is doing in New York City. It is the slowest recovering market segment, no surprise. Meetings and conventions are doing well compared to the transient business traveler. So corporations are cutting back on travel budgets. People work from home has had an impact on individual travel. But in normal times, business travel represents about 20% of the market into New York City. It is largely a leisure-driven market at 80%. So you see here, it's going to be beyond 2025. That light blue color at the top is business travel. It was 13.6 million in 2019, and it's going to take beyond 25 to get those numbers really fully back to where they are. But the groups and meeting segment of this component, I'm happy to say, is almost fully back, which is really great to see. The next slide will show you the numbers indexed. So this is indexed to 2019's record performance. Overall, you see this year, the middle number, 97% back is the expectation for this year. Again, fully back over 100% next year. And you look across the board at how each of the segments are doing. International is really outpacing most of the others, which is great to see. Europe remains a very attractive destination globally. We've all pushed hard and in coordination with I Love New York to make that happen, which is really terrific. Domestic sort of led the recovery, but then international quickly caught up. And you see everywhere will be caught up except for, of course, that critical business sector at 97% next year. Next slide. So these are the top 10 international markets as they stand today. Dark blue is how they performed last year. Light blue is what we expect them to do this year. And you, as our head of research, Donna Karen, likes to say, we're returning to normal patterns. So these look like the order that they were in pre-pandemic, with the exception of China. China would have been just behind Canada in 2019. We do expect a large resurgence of the Chinese travelers this year. I just returned from U.S.-China Leadership Summit last week in Xi'an. There is a lot of optimism there, a lot of discussions between the two governments about restoring flight capacity. It's one of the most critical issues, as Ralph and others know in this room. There was a lot of work done to get the Chinese capacity where it was in 2019. The U.S. overall, to put it in perspective, had more than 250 direct flights from China in 2019. Today, we have about 50. So the capacity has not returned. The Chinese are resilient, though, and they are connecting through Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore. They're finding other ways to get here. The high end of the market, from everything that we see, is recovered. So the high spending Chinese FIT or individual transient traveler has recovered. It's the large group market that is not recovered, and that mass market is expected to take some time. Next slide will show you the next set of markets, 11 through 20. You see this is where the real diversity of our market mix comes into play, and you see they're all doing quite well. And are expected to, every market is expected to grow this year. Interestingly, Japan, even with the strong dollar against many of these currencies, we're expected to see some strong rebound. This is the U.S.-Japan tourism year, you may know. So there's been a lot of activations in Japan to encourage travel between our two countries. Next slide. So this is a quick glimpse at our latest tourism campaign. We've been using Lady Liberty for quite a few years now as the ultimate representative of the city. The creative team continues to do, I think, great work in representing her in new and fresh ways each year. The next slide will show you where the campaign is running this year globally. This is in large part due to our partnership with Samusa. I'm sorry, I said Samusa, that was the old partner, with JCDecaux, which bought Samusa, who holds the city's out-of-home contract. So we have about $20 million in media that runs globally in these major markets. We're spending about an additional $2 million in digital on top of this. And you can see the travel partners in each country driving travel inbound to New York City. So we are reaching the entire globe, which is terrific. The next slide. Here's a look at some of the campaign in market. You see some of the digital on the left, which runs in partnership, obviously, with Out of Home. And then our travel trade partners in market will buy additional media to round out a 360 campaign in each market. Next slide. Here's a quick look at our vibrancy campaigns. I'm happy to say this past winter, we set a record in terms of the number of businesses that participated in the programs. A couple of years ago, we introduced Hotel Week, which added discounted hotel pricing for January and February to our always popular Restaurant Week program. Must See Week is for attractions and culturals. That's 2-for-1 tickets. And of course, Broadway Week, 2-for-1. One of the only 2 times a year where you can get 2-for-1 Broadway tickets. These are important to driving vibrancy and business, of course, during the shoulder seasons. Next slide. Restaurant Week for summer coming up. Just some quick dates for you all, July 22nd through August 18th. Restaurant Week returns. We're introducing some new awards this year to encourage some diversity and some new innovation in menus. But we're excited to see Restaurant Week come back this year. Next slide. So we are very appreciative of a grant from Bloomberg to support our It's Time for Culture program. This is a celebration of the arts and culture season in New York and its vitality and vibrancy and diversity. This campaign launched a couple of years ago. It is returning this fall to celebrate the return of the fall culture season with tremendous support from Bloomberg. And if you haven't checked out their app, Bloomberg Connects, it's quite a useful tool for arts and culture, not just in New York City, but across the country. Next slide. SIDA, some of you talked a little bit about the travel trade, the importance of the tour operators in the market. About every 10 years, we're fortunate to host the Student Youth Travel Association for their annual conference. They'll be back here this summer in August at the Sheraton Times Square. We're expecting record attendance. More than 1,000 folks will be here. New York City remains the top destination for student youth travel in the U.S. That's not something we take lightly. And we're really thrilled to be welcoming them back. There's a lot of sightseeing tours they're going to be doing across all 5 boroughs, and they are going to be traveling upstate in partnership with I Love New York, which is terrific. Next slide. So America 250, you touched on it. It also happens to be the city's 400th next year. So we use that occasion to sort of kickstart our celebration of history, the diversity of experiences that are available here in New York City early. So at IPW in LA last month, we launched a new program called Founded by NYC. It's an evergreen platform celebrating not just the history that New York City made as the first capital, the first Congress, the place where the Bill of Rights was passed, inaugurated the first president, of course, downtown at Federal Hall. But also we continue to make history every day in the city. And so this really celebrates the innovation, the creativity of our city. And it's something that we'll be celebrating over the next 2 years for 400 and 250, but also beyond. So we're really excited to use this to lean into history throughout all 5 boroughs. And we're particularly focusing on the contributions of women, people of color, and indigenous communities. So we're excited about that content. I encourage you to check it out. The next slide will show you a quick video. Before we get there, Sail 250 may return. Many of us have participated in obviously tall ship celebrations, the last one being Op Sail for the Millennial, and they are returning to celebrate, of course, America 250 in the harbor on July 4th weekend. It's expected to be the largest ever gathering of tall ships in the world in history. More than 32 countries are sending tall ships to celebrate America's anniversary. You may also know Fleet Week has been elevated to a presidential review that summer. So the sitting president will be here when Fleet Week moves from Memorial Day to July 4th weekend. And we'll be hosting a World Cup game the next day. So there's been a little bit going on in the summer of 2026. It's a remarkable time. And I think the next one is our video. This is the logo for Founded by NYC, which is quite clever. And this is just a quick 30-second spot about it. And it's in partnership with Hamilton, which is terrific. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the spokesperson for the program. And you'll see a lot more content around this, which is really exciting. The song happens to lend itself really well to the narrative, so we're grateful to Lin-Manuel. World Cup, you all know this really well. The next slide will show you the set of matches that we will be hosting here in the 5 boroughs. The 6 group stage matches in June. It's important to note that they are in quick succession, one right after the other. And then a round of 32 on June 30th. Then the round of 16, July 5th, the day after the Harbor celebration, of course. And then there is a 2-week gap while the semis and the quarterfinals play out across North America. And then the 2 final teams will come to New York into the stadium to play on July 19th. FanFest plans are still coming together. It looks like at this moment, this is a partnership, obviously, with the state of New Jersey. The initial FanFest will be in Liberty State Park on the New Jersey side of the Hudson, but then we'll move ideally to Flushing, to Corona Park, for a huge celebration here in the city. And then potentially, it's not been finalized, but it looks like the FanFest will move to Central Park for the final weekend of the finals, which is going to be pretty incredible with a viewing party and concerts and all kinds of activations. One of our goals, and I know we share this with I Love New York, is to encourage folks who are coming to watch the games. There's more than 1 million people expected to come into the city over this period for the games. Only half of those will have tickets. The rest will be here to just be part of the excitement and to viewing parties and what have you. But they're going to be here for an extended period of time. So our goal, as I know yours is to encourage them to stay in the region and to explore. It's a tremendous opportunity, I think, for all of us and really exciting. You may also know that we've received the bid for the Women's World Cup. And that is a bid that we all are pursuing. The United States has signed a letter of interest to the organizing committee to enter a bid for the Women's World Cup, which could come as early as 2027 or 28. So we'll keep you posted, obviously, on that front. Really exciting on the sports front. So much is happening. And I think the next thing that we have so 2 upcoming events. We have our foundation, which you may know, which Christine founded, which benefits arts and cultural organizations across the 5 boroughs. The next event is next Wednesday, June 5th, our summer soiree, and then our big gala, December 9th back at the Plaza Hotel. So just 2 quick dates if anyone's interested in those. And lastly, we wanted just to leave you with our latest welcome video for the city, which is representative of our new brand. And it's kind of fun. So we just wanted to give you one last taste of New York City. It's okay. There you go.
Oh yeah, let's talk about New York, baby.
What's good in NYC? Let me see.
My favorite thing to do in New York City.
You can have a million different days in New York City.
Whatever it is that you want in New York, we have the privilege of being picky.
You don't need to be in the restaurant when the whole city is a restaurant.
Food in Queens is the best. Brooklyn seems to be the place to be.
Represent the Bronx all day.
Staten Island, if I like you, I take you there.
You can just go around Chelsea. Every block has gallery.
The New York City parks. Prospect Park is Brooklyn's backyard.
And of course, Manhattan, the epicenter of everything from lifestyle, entertainment, and culture that define New York City.
It's First Avenue, Second Avenue, Third.
There's public transportation. In the case of her, getting her in the subway and bus is infinitely easier than getting her in a car seat.
NYC ferry system. Get on the upper deck of a ferry, all the way out to the Rockaways, go to the Verrazano Bridge.
Dumbo to Hunter's Point.
Grab a city bike, take the Hudson Green Path, hit the cloisters.
Go to Coney Island.
The red steps in Times Square.
I love Times Square. The immensity, the lights, all the people. Catch a show on Broadway. What on Broadway do you like?
Hamilton. We love to explore food all around 5 boroughs.
I'm gonna eat my way through Queens.
Pizza is the official fruit of New York City.
Queens has the best pizza. I'm going to say that as a Queenser.
What's more New York, pizza or oysters?
That's a trick question, right?
Before hot dogs were everywhere on the streets, everyone ate oysters all day long.
The beaches, the waterfront.
You can actually swim in the Hudson.
Would I swim in the Hudson if you paid me?
Occasionally you can see dolphins.
I've never seen a dolphin.
Yes, I'll swim in the Hudson because this is a clean city.
Manhattan is like the heart of the performing industry.
That's up for debate.
My little gem is Staten Island.
Wu-Tang Clan all day.
We have the St. George Theater.
St. Anne's Warehouse with Dumbo.
Oh my God, stick to Manhattan, stick to Manhattan.
Getting down at the Apollo.
The Met, the MoMA, the Whitney Natural History Museum.
New York City is known for starting trends.
In New York, diversity and culture is appreciated and encouraged.
As a blind person, I don't feel isolated. Gotta be one of the most welcoming cities in the world. Even before I told my parents I was gay, I told New York I was gay. New York is a gift. It's the capital of the world.
It's a place where creativity is born.
New York, by definition, is the pinnacle of welcome.
The great thing is that it all happens here.
People are cool with who I am, and I'm cool with who they are. That's big. That's what you get in New York. You say New York for the camera? New York. There you go.
Clever, right? Yeah, it's very good. So that's our update. So thank you all.
Oh yeah, let's talk about New York.
Again, good. And I do look forward to working with you in our new role. And Nancy Clement, our Chief Marketing Officer, has been tapped as interim beginning June 6th, next Thursday, and a national search will be underway to choose the next CEO. So they're going to take their time. Russell Reynolds is managing the search here in New York. Our current chair, Charlie Flayman, and our past chair, Emily Raphael, are chairing that search. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next chapter. But I continue to look forward to working with all of you at Bright News Day. So thank you for
Well, thank you, Fred. And
Yeah.
that's your We're just so happy you're going to remain in our industry. So we have a special thanks from a special guest, Assemblyman Danny O'Donnell. Are you there?
I don't know if he's still
There.
there.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
Something you want to say, sir?
There is. Fred, on behalf of the city and state of New York, we owe you a great debt. And so I have sponsored a resolution honoring you for your distinguished service to the tourism industry. I am sadly not there with you. We remain in session. And so I'm in Albany, but the resolution is there. And if for nothing else, the quality of those commercials you just showed tells me a great deal about how good you actually are. And I knew that, but I'd like to have it proof in the pudding. So on behalf of the state of New York, we want to thank you, and we want to say that we will miss you, but we will continue to rely on you to do your good work. Fred, thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman. That is so amazing. I'm deeply touched and honored. And the fact that you're here and that you did this really means a lot. So thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have 2 copies so that you can keep one here in New York City and one in
Oh, one in
Washington.
Washington.
Remind
Wonderful.
everybody in DC how well loved you are
I
here
will
in New
frame
York
this
City
now.
and New York State.
I
So-
love it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I just want to add to what everyone said, Fred, and about particularly your collaborative spirit. When I was elevated to this position, one of the first calls I got was from Fred, so let's have lunch. I took it as a great honor. The dynamics of this position, from politics to, other people could view it as competition. Fred never did. Fred was always there, say, how can we work together? Even when we had to do that in sometimes creative ways, we always found ways to do it. And you were always a great support. You were always there when we needed you. You have an amazing team, obviously, that speaks well of them and speaks well of you. And we're excited for the great things ahead. So thank you for your partnership.
It's very kind.
More to come. Well, this was an amazing meeting. I do want to remind everybody, and Fred, of course, you're welcome. Our next meeting, September 23rd, it is not going to be here. This will be vacated, obviously. But we're going to go on the road to the Olana State Historic Site. So it's up in Hudson. So you do need to make plans because it's at 11 a.m. If you do plan on coming the night before, we might do a hike in the morning. So it should be a beautiful time when the foliage just sort of, September, that's going to be gorgeous. So, so please make plans and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have about that. So I do want to wrap because we are running a bit. So I need a motion to adjourn. Natasha, thank you.
So moved.
And I need a second. Oh, thank you, David.
You're welcome.
All right, and I am supposed to give the exact time. It's 11:51. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you in September.
All right, very good.
Song.